It's not that they don't want to help. They don't know quite what to do. Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. Have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
$7 million for reef fish management. $25 million to combat Asian carp. $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint, when they thought about it.
In case you don't know, and you haven't seen the latest polls, the American people hold the President of the United States in contempt.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree.
I went in yesterday and there was a television screen, and I said, this is genius.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by gold. You know the thing.
Dub is a shit fuck, cringe tour, etc., etc.
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the vote.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by gold. You know the thing.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. In the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
It's like, oh, Abel's your guy, eh, God? How about if I take him out in the field and beat him to death? Yeah, like Abel's your guy, eh? How about if I take him out in the field and beat him to death? Beat him to death. Beat him to death.
And by the way, I don't think that's some grand conspiracy. I think this is sort of what power is. I mean this at a sort of high level.
Do not come. Do not come.
They're coming all over the place. They're coming all over the place. They're coming all over the place. Everybody comes in your grandmother. Everybody comes in your grandmother. Everybody comes in your grandmother, your father, your mother, your brother, your cousins.
Force the vote, sure, was a failure. Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
Oh, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of raw peppers and hot sauce.
I liked beer. I still like beer. But I did not drink beer to the point of blacking out.
Get your words straight, Jack.
But the real problem is that our leaders are dumb.
Hello, users, and welcome to another installation of an episodic an episodic variety and also got a show that I'm doing. I do this show every day, typically every day, and I'm doing it right now. I'm here live once again every day. What's a day? What is a day? I don't even know what a day is anymore. My concept of what a day is because to me, I don't even know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. So, what is a day? Anyway, got a show going on. I'm doing a show. I have a special guest on today. And so we're going to be delving into the Disco Brian of Getting Down with Disco and Brian. We're going to be getting into the drama I am now hosting like a TMZ kind of material here. And so, that should be entertaining. It should be entertaining. My opinion is I'm neutral in all of the controversies. And so we're going to be going into that. The real reasons behind things that are going on. So, that's going to be fun. But yesterday I had an experience, and I want to share some of this experience. I had an experience yesterday. It feels like it's been a very long time since I've done a live stream. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, I have to say. Drinking some sody pop here, don't mind me. And, so, don't mind me if I'm a little slow today. Bear with me. I haven't done one of these shows in a long time. I know you're thinking you just did one yesterday. That was a whole different person that did that show yesterday. I don't even know who that is. But it's been a long time since I've done a show. So please bear with me. I'm a little rusty. And anyway, news. So this is a new show, so I'm told. Yep. So I'm looking at the news. Just looking. People are dying, apparently. Every day, people are just dying. Oh, there's a car upside down. Wow. A woman's body has been found. Yeah, so apparently this is a news show. According to my reports, this is a news show. Once again, we'll be getting a special guest on at 12:30-ish. But you're right, I was going to talk about my experience yesterday. Right, okay. So I had an experience yesterday. And it's terrifying. It was horrifying. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know how to put it into words. But I had a terrifying experience yesterday. Bojo's been banned from Russia, breaking news. And but it was one of those terrifying experiences that once the terror is over, there's like the sweet release. And so, obviously I'm talking about I did mushrooms yesterday. So it was pretty amazing. So I feel like, there's a little bit of a mental refresh, pressing F5. So, trying to get my bearings straight. Also, I was doing dabs this morning. I'm sure that helps with the short-term memory loss. But so bear with me. So today's show, I'm also going to be engaging in some dramatic drama in approximately 18 minutes. So, today's show is going to be fun. I'm just having some fun here. What's good in the neighborhood? That's a good question. I went out for a walk this morning. So I was involved in the neighborhood, as it were. It's kind of cold. It's chilly. So, a little chilly in the neighborhood. But that's good. I like when it's a little chilly. You know, I hate sweating when I'm outside. So when it's a little chilly, I know I'm not going to sweat. So it's very comforting. I'm on all the time. Yes, I do a show once a day for an hour. So I guess I'm on all the time. Honest question. What kind of rewards does a political channel only get here without being paid? ESP, when you are on a side. It must be stressful and time burning? What? Rewards? Like, do I have a trophy? Is that what you're asking? I'd burn in the sun? Okay. What is a dab? A dab is highly concentrated marijuana product. So normally, active drugs in marijuana flower, it's like 20%, 30%. You know, the rest is just like, you know, cellulose and plant fibers, right? So you take the stuff that gets you high and you put it into like a rock. And that's like 70, 80, sometimes 90% of the drug. And so basically I'm really high and I'm chilling. But yep. And I'm still recovering from my mushroom experience yesterday. So I'm a little out of it. So bear with me. Dabbing is something my Zoomer friends did. Oh yeah, that has an alternative meaning. Oyster catchers, very nice. All right. So I'm gonna. I guess this is a news show. Ostensibly, should I do like at least one news item? This is a news show. This is a news show. This is a news show, so I do the stream and I talk about things. Right. Okay. This is a new show. None of this is interesting. None of this news is interesting. Yeah. None of this is interesting. I'm looking, I'm scrolling through. Oil, who cares? People getting killed. Biden's or Trump's endorsing people. Who cares? Does anyone care about any of this? Does anyone? I say, you know, but like, what is happening in all this? There's a church fire. Whoa. Some deputies got shot. That's crazy. Goddamn, someone shot the deputies. That's insane. Gnome is 90 plus. He gets a pass. I gotta get Gnome goddamn Chomsky on my goddamn. Do another short Q&A. Sure. Hit me up. But did they shoot the sheriff? It seems that unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, that is not the case, according to this headline. And I'm not going to click the article. Legal weed sales incoming. Hell yeah. Me smoking my earplug. Go for it, buddy. What's my favorite book? I don't know. I normally just read books like once. There's like only like 2 or 3 books I think I've ever read a second time. And I wouldn't say that any of them are my favorite. Favorite type of bird? I like the ones that swim in water. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. I don't know if you should be saying that in the chat. I'm not sure if that's... I don't know if you should be saying that. It might be a confession. Here, I'll delete the message for you. I'm just, I'm no snitching. No snitching, but that's crazy. That is crazy. Full disclosure. I'm sorry. Full... I know it's a lyric. I'm aware. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Full disclosure. I'm a card-carrying member of the Pete Seeger left. I'm going to be honest. I don't know who Pete Seeger is. So I don't have any opinion. Milo, if you want to come on and tell us about Pete Seeger. Detectives Endowment Association. No. Mario and Love Ya Plush Masters. It's strange how Glenn Beck said that Trump was a Nazi when 2 years earlier he said that Mitch McConnell was a progressive. Did the Republicans go that far right? I think all Republicans are stupid. That's my contribution to that discourse. I'll do that sometime. Favorite nail polish, color, and maker? I don't know. I don't have a favorite. I just kind of rotate whenever I do it. I like to switch it up. Are they the Halo books? No. I've only read them one time. I've read, like, one of the books I've read twice is It. So, if reading it multiple times makes it your favorite, that would be it. God dang It. Very bizarre. I'm also in a bizarre... I like things that are bizarre. It's true. What do you go by? Well, when I want to make food, I go by the refrigerator. When I go to the bathroom, I go by the hallway and a bedroom. When I go for a walk, I go by trees. Sometimes bushes, maybe. Every once in a while, there's a car, and the car goes by me more than I go by the car. Typically. What do I think of the Halo show? To me, Halo show is like the anime from like 10 years ago. I know that I'm vaguely aware that there's a new Halo show, but I know nothing about it. Pronouns, etc. I don't know if etc. is a pronoun. I'm not sure if etc. counts as a pronoun. I went by trees this morning. That's awesome. Goddamn Better Call Saul. I'm so ready. Did anyone else see the behind-the-scenes take on breaking points when Kyle pointed his cam at Crystal? And whoa. Whoa! Whoa! Fuck! That's crazy. No, I did not see that. Where do you, like, gain access to that information, though? Melton John. Are you okay? Do you need help? She, her, it, dudum. Dudum. Is that like Duke Nukem? Is that the combination? Oh. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh. So we're going to have a guest on the show. Shortly here. Any minute now. We're going to have a guest on the show. So everyone, so thank you for joining today on the program. Got a program today lined up. Apparently, and I'm not sure exactly, but according to reports, this is a news show. I think, but like I'm looking at the news and I can't, there's none of it that I care about. Oh, this might be funny. Alright, hold up. I'm gonna watch this. There's a potentially good clip. Just looking at Twitter. Let's see. So, let's watch. Let's enjoy ourselves. We asked Judge Janine how many drinks she has before she goes on TV. This ought to be good.
Let me ask you a question. When you're on the air, do you have a couple drinks before you go on?
Never.
Because I watched you one time and you were slurring your words a little bit.
I was never slurring my words.
When you were on your show, on Judge Jeannie, you were slurring your words a little bit.
But that's what we like about it. We're like, this
funny.
is what's fun about the show.
Who's he saying that I was slurring my words?
Well, just you've had a couple.
You just had a couple drinks.
That's
no?
why we watch
What's
the show.
your name?
Let me ask you a question. When you're on the air.
That's funny. That's funny. And that's news. That's news to me. God, that's funny. Oh, that's crazy. Melton John, I don't find people in here very friendly. You're coming in here calling people tards, calling people dudum its, like I don't think we find you very friendly. I mean, I don't know, like whatever you're going for, like I'm sorry, I'm not interested. So it was a fun experiment, but you know, I'm just kind of like just seeing all the future interactions that you're having. I'm predicting that every time you enter the chat, it's going to be 1, unfunny, 2, dumb, 3, unfunny, and 4, not funny at all. So like there's no reason for you to be here. Like there's just no reason, so. Oh my god, that seltzer's coming in hot. All right, I'm going to try to do a show of some kind. Just gonna give this a shot. Trying to do a show here. Just doing a show. Hello? Hello? Are you audible?
Hello, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Wonderful. I just can't see you.
Yep, I'm still doing my thing. Hold on, I'm very slow this morning.
No, it's all good. I'm gonna actually also try to.
Okay, so your audio is going through the stream. So you are audible.
Awesome.
Do you want to introduce yourself in any capacity?
Yeah, here. Let me just actually let me put myself in the corner here. I have your stream running as well, so I'm actually going to just close out here.
All right.
Then...
Okay.
Okay. Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Very high, so bear with me.
Yeah, I saw that you did shrooms yesterday, right?
Yes, that's what I was describing earlier. I'm still recovering, not all the way here, and I've got a vape pen, so I'm ready.
Oh, nice.
I'm ready to go. So I guess we'll do a recap here, because this is a part 2. So we had, and by we I mean me, because I don't have anyone else that I do the show with. I had Disco Brian on the program, and that turned, it was originally thinking about an hour, turned into something around 3 hours, and it was very enjoyable for me. I was having a great time, and so I want to try to remain as neutral as I can in all of these exchanges. But he said a lot of things about a lot of people, and so people are responding on their own personal platforms, including yours. You have a show or a stream, a channel. You have something.
Yeah, so I stream on Twitch usually, and then I post segments to YouTube. Inkaíno, it's just INKIANO. And yeah, so I did see, it was a very long stream that you had with him the last time, so I didn't get to see all the 3.5 hours.
If shows go long and as long as it doesn't run, if I don't have anything else planned, I'm willing to just go for it. I think it's entertaining. So yeah, it's very long. I've done very long shows with people before, and that was a long one.
Yeah. I don't plan on taking that much of your time today.
Oh, okay. That's great.
But I figure, I could do my best to try to keep it short. But I definitely wanted to come on and talk because the thing that I found particularly funny about that interaction that you had with him the last time was his characterization of my interactions with him.
Okay.
So I believe that he said, the only interaction that we ever had with each other was when I just randomly attacked him on Twitter, and I was like, come on my stream, debate me. And he just completely left out all of the context. And, I know Brian is very, very concerned with being good faith. So it was surprising, for me to hear him characterize it in such a way. And I guess I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So... yeah, so once again, there's a lot of, Twitter drama, and the Twitter drama has now leaked into the My Show ecosystem, so now we're having, a whole new audience here. So maybe we can turn this whole saga into, a game show, a new audience that's never been exposed to any of the parties. Who's the better party, right? We'll figure this out over time. I know Jeff is coming on the show sometime next week. So we're going to have more interactions, maybe a couple other people. But yeah, so it really, I think this all stems, there was this group chat that, existed. I'm not sure. I've heard
Yeah.
multiple people refer to multiple group chats. Who is my guest? This is Inkaíno from the Twitch channel. Did I pronounce that correctally?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. You said it perfectly.
I was practicing
you
all
nailed
morning.
the pronunciation.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. Well, now I can just end the show here. I mean,
yeah.
Anyway.
There's not even any point of moving forward anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. But there's been a lot of drama brewing for I guess a year plus. I don't know. And it's for me, my engagement is I try to limit my engagement in Twitter fights these days. It's just unhealthy for me personally. But, I watch it. I like to watch the fights, it's like I'm watching a Rocky film, oh, get him.
It's definitely the Twitter drama can definitely be entertaining, at least from the outside. I've been noticing I've been more involved in the Twitter drama recently than I personally prefer to be.
Yep. That's why I've been trying to stay on I have gotten in Twitter fights many, many, many times over the years, and I just have decided to try to stop getting involved in much, but I still watch them. And yes, so Disco Brian, who I think his video project is good. I think he's got a really good idea, and I think that that's cool. So, that's why we brought him on the show, and by we, of course, I mean me. But, once again, he gets into fights a lot, and so that's a core part of the story. And, I know a lot of people don't like him, so people are in the chat asking him questions. I wanted to try to be as fair as I could to all of those people, and that's why you're on the show. But part of the stream that we did with Disco Brian, and by we, of course, I mean me, I think it was like 20% about his video project, and then like 80% about various Twitter fights. And again, it's trying to be as neutral as possible here. I think sometimes people are a little unfair to him. I think sometimes a lot of people he's unfair to. I think a lot of people have been unfair, and we can definitely determine who has been the least fair in these, and I think we'll determine that over the course of the following litigation. But so I mean, you said I'm giving a long prologue here, but you said that he called you out by name at some point, along with another list of people, and they're all invited on the show too. And so, he made it seem like your interaction was short and unsweet, so to speak. But you're telling me that you like the water took a while to boil here. This is. Yeah. So Brian and I actually used to be we used to follow each other on Twitter. And in the beginning, it was very milquetoast, our interactions. I ended up unfollowing him just because I felt like he was just very parasocial. Sometimes he would say things to me, often about my appearance. Like he would very often call me sexy or hot or something, and it just made me feel probably
uncomfortable.
Related to the backwards hat? Is that a thing you're going for?
I was actually looking through my old, all my YouTube thumbnails, and I think in almost all of them, except for 2 or 3 of them, I have my hat on. It's become something of a staple. Yeah. But I would have posted a picture or something of myself and my fiance on Twitter or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian always had some weird comment, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna pull away from him. And
so let me
that moment,
just to refresh. So you post photos of yourself. That's what people do. And Brian is in your mind, he is attracted to you, and would express that attraction.
I've told him several times that I'm not gonna fuck him. Let's put it that way. Outwardly, I've had to be dude, I'm not interested. Please, don't refer to me in when you're talking to me. Don't talk to me about my appearance or how hot or sexy you think I am. It's weird, and I don't really know him like that.
Right.
So it was just a very, very weird interaction. But then from there, things got he lost it after I unfollowed him, and things sort of took a tumble. I would notice that he would comment excessively. He would tweet at people that a lot of mutuals of mine. He would tweet excessively at me, and it was usually this purity testing thing, and I was not about that. He would constantly ask me, and I'm not sure if you know who Gregorad is on Twitter. Yeah, he's constantly on him oh, why did Dave Sirota say this? Why did he do that? And I think number one, for me, if you're going to talk to me about my positions, that's one thing. I can answer for myself, but I'm not going to speak for Dave Sirota, and I don't think anyone else should have to either. But that was never good enough for Brian. He was always very, very aggressive in his, in his, I guess if you want to call it advocacy or whatever it is. But he is, and this is something that I noticed when I was watching the last stream that you had him on. He seems to be very hurt about, he used to be part of this group chat. He's no longer part of this group chat. I was not part of that. I came into the picture much later. And the thing that I really wanted to focus on was that, Brian's characterization of our interactions with him was that, I was just mean to him out of nowhere. But I actually came prepared with screenshots of tweets that we have together. Brian has been outwardly and overtly racist toward me. I'm Hispanic. I'm Latino.
Okay.
Brian has repeatedly crossed that line. Brian has also purposefully mischaracterized things that I have said in order to score points with me, especially regarding Ukraine, Russia. That's actually where the whole conversation about me wanting him to come onto my stream to debate. That's where that all came from, was our Ukraine Russia discussion, because he kept doing this purity testing thing, and that book that he showed on your last stream, The Road to Unfreedom by Timothy Snyder. Yeah. He was like, "Oh, why haven't you read this? Why haven't you read this?" And I was trying to tell him, I was like, I don't think I need to read this one book to be able to find other ways to be educated on this. And as a matter of fact, I've done videos on Ukraine, Russia. And what Brian did was, there's a quote that I have in one of these videos where I say, I hate to say it, but, Putin's going to take the L on this. And Brian decided to take that one sentence and make it seem like I was apologizing for Putin.
Okay.
And I actually do have that screenshot up right now, actually, right on my stream.
Okay, so well, on my stream, we're all taking this on an article of faith, unless you want to put it on your phone and put the phone up to the camera. But do you have a Twitter thread, a main thread of this in any way that you can link?
So actually I can link this. So this is...
Link it to me in Discord and I'll repost in my chat so that those watching can follow along at home.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds. I just need to, there we go. All right, there you go. So this is the one where we are having an interaction, and he's calling me a clown because I apologized for Putin. And he literally actually puts it in quotes. I hate to say it, as if he did not understand that that's just a linguistic flourish that people use in everyday language.
I will say, all right, so let me try to recap this a little bit, so that we can make sure that this is as clear as we can. So Brian tweets a lot. He has a very quick Twitter finger, and he loves to share his thoughts with as many people as are willing to listen. And it seems that group of people willing to listen is shrinking over time. And so his style of tweeting, now me, if I'm used to filtering spam out, not to say that Brian, all of his tweets are spam, but he phrases his tweets very similarly. And he will send a lot of them in rapid succession. And so and sometimes I think he makes good points when he does so. But the big thing is that he will do so without really any context, right? He'll just reply to something and just try to start a new conversation. And so that doesn't, people on Twitter, they don't really receive that in that way. I mean, my thing is start a conversation, maybe DM them or, I don't know. That's my thing. But I will say that, he does make good points sometimes. And I think I think a lot of the times people ignore what he says completely just because they think he's spamming. But, I try to keep involved. Sometimes I disagree with him on this tweet here that you're sending me. Yeah, that's a little silly. I will say that, that is definitely a silly thing to get mad at, in my opinion. And then you also said he was racist to you. Can you go on to that more?
Yeah. So, I have 3 examples. Actually, I have 5 right here.
Technically,
just 3 of them are on
two
one
are
page.
like that's like a half
Yeah.
racism on the other 2.
Well, I would say it's overtly racist, but
Okay.
3 of them are on one page. So it's I have 3 tabs open.
Okay. So would you say that like the 2 that are different, like those make up like 1.3 racisms?
Well, yeah. So here, I'll actually just go in order from this one. So I
Okay.
have this tweet right here. I'll also link this one to you as well.
All
so
right.
You can see this. So in this tweet, he's actually comparing me to Enrique Tarrio, who
That is the leader of the former
Proud
leader.
Boy. Yes, the former leader of the Proud Boys. And the reason why Brian did this was because he was basically saying that I'm like very aggro. We were arguing about Joy Reid. I know that Brian likes to lick Joy Reid's boots, make sure that they're nice and shiny. Doesn't has to have a nice sparkle to it. And at this point, I think I had already cursed Brian out a couple times. And in that moment, Brian thought that it was appropriate to compare me, an indigenous Hispanic person, to a white nationalist, racist, homophobic, transphobic Proud Boy member, former leader, because he is also Hispanic, right? And that I thought was like really, really, for someone who claims to be so progressive and to be, he's so, he always is putting people through these purity tests. I would have expected that he would have known better to, if he thought that I was being aggro, he could have just said, you're being aggro and unreasonable.
Now,
but
could
he had
we,
to go
for the non-gamers out there, what is aggro?
Like aggressive, that you're being very aggressive, you're being very confrontational.
Would you say that typically people hate to say that they're aggro? Is that possible?
I mean, people have said that I can be very impassioned and very aggressive, and that is definitely true. If I have a harsh disagreement with someone, I have absolutely no problem rolling around in the mud with them.
All right. It seems that
especially
Brian is the same way.
Yeah, especially if I feel like they're being, uncharitable or disingenuous. Like I will flatly just say, like, I believe this is what you're doing, and I will come at them very harshly.
I just want to say, just for the conversation's sake, if you look at the tweet that Brian sent you, and I'm not defending this tweet, I think it's mostly not a great tweet, right? But you'll notice maybe he's referring to the fact that Enrique Tarrio on the thumbnail has his hat on backwards. So maybe it's not. Are you willing to accept that as a possibility, that it's not actually a racist thing? It's like a hat thing?
If it is a critique on my style, I'm gonna have to take the L on that and say that flew right over my head.
I mean, it's possible.
It is
I noticed it.
guess
I'm sure other people noticed it. It's some very interesting. But yeah, I mean, I would say overall, not the best tweet. I would say probably pretty bad.
Oh, it gets worse, my friend. It gets
All right.
worse. So the next example that I have here, I'll also link this one to you. These are the 3 tweets on the one tab. So just to give you a little bit of background on this one, do you know who High Progressive is? He is the editor.
I believe
for
High
Vosh,
Progressive had their first ever podcast appearance on my show. That's what
Oh,
I heard.
wow. Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. All right. So I was actually not aware of that. But a while ago, High Progressive followed me on Twitter. Great account. I highly recommend that everyone go follow them as well.
I would say I'm progressively high.
Oh, you and me would be. We're on the same page here. So he followed me on Twitter. And upon him following me, I made a joke. I said, I am now the Latino Vosh. And I thought it was really funny. But it was like a one-off. It was not something that was meant to necessarily stick. Brian saw that and took that as a green light to refer to me as Latino Vosh for several days. Now, what we're seeing here is 3 tweets, but if I remember correctly, there's actually more than that.
Okay.
And it got to the point. Where I was like, all right, dude, like, you have to stop calling me this. Like, it's not funny anymore. You said it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. And he would not stop. It actually got to the point where other people were commenting back at him saying, dude, like, you're being a little racist. Like, relax.
I just have to say, like, I'm looking at the tweets, and, like, the way you describe the story with me looking at the tweets, it's really funny. Like, it's, like, I'm so, like, yeah, I mean, like, it's definitely... Like, do I think that he, like is using that as, like, some sort of, like, racist insult? He probably saw you say it and he's using it against you. But, yeah, I mean, it's not, you know, that's not, like, you know, it's a one-off.
I don't want to necessarily say that, at least in this particular interaction, I don't want to say that this was overtly racist.
Sure.
It was more like low-key racism.
Yeah.
And... I think that, you know, a conversation can be had there, I think, where it could be like, all right, look, you said this pretty cringe thing and we can move past that. But I think when we look at the totality of the experience that I've had with him and some of the things that he said to me, in the grand scheme of things, I actually am now convinced that Brian does have some, like, deep-rooted, like, issues around racism that he needs to work out. I don't have
just let me read some of these tweets just for the putting them in the record. So the first tweet is, I'm also not a coward. My thoughts straight. Chomsky is evil, Sirota is evil, and Grimm is evil. You've crowned yourself the Latino Vouch. So clearly you're aiming high. Lol. So in that instance, he's quoting you in that instance. So, like, that is the first tweet. Now, I disagree that Chomsky, Sirota, and Grimm are evil. I genuinely accept the criticism of them that Brian has. I think that Breaking Points is a horrible show, and I think that Rising is a horrible show. Now, does that make Ryan Grimm or Sirota evil that they are involved in those shows? No, but I think it's a miscalculation, and I don't, that's not my thing. I wouldn't say that they're evil. Criticizing them is good, and we should be open to criticizing them. But
no, of course, I can get down with that. I can get down with saying, "Hey, look, I disagree with this. Right? I disagree with this action that you're doing, or I disagree with this practice that you're engaging in." And I think that there's a better way to go about, achieving X, Y, Z. And I can 1,000% get behind that. I think that oftentimes, though, what Brian will do is he will take these figures and then he will use them as a litmus test for everyone else to say whether or not they're progressive, while at the same time licking the boots of Joy Reid, who literally had someone on a body language expert in order to smear Bernie Sanders. So for me, it's just, it's very weird that, he's so concerned about who is and isn't progressive. And then he goes and, he simps for one of the most corporate liberal media figures that exists out there.
Well, because we talked about Joy Reid on my interview with him. So let me try to elucidate to the best of my ability his point with Joy Reid, not to be confused with Joe Reid, who may or may not exist. I don't know. But Joy Reid, television host. So Brian says that she's gotten better since the body language expert thing. That's what she kind of went most viral for in, like, Bernie Twitterverse. I remember covering that on my show. Very cringy, right? Like, I have physical reaction, to the cringe. But according to Brian, and now I don't have a cable subscription. I don't watch cable news. I don't even have access to it, right? But according to Brian, like, he has people in his family that were introduced to figures like Cori Bush in a positive light. Far left, defund the police Cori Bush. Apparently she goes on Joy Reid's show, and that, like, for, like, I don't know, like, boomer libs or whatever, like, they're more open to leftism because of that, which I can see that as a benefit. I can see that as, like, something that, I think that's better than her doing the body language expert bullshit, right? So it's a good trajectory. But also, like, my thing about it is, like, I don't think most people on Twitter are watching cable news. Like if your older family members are watching it and that's what turns them, that's good. And that should be a good thing. But again, Twitter people, it's just a different audience, right? I don't watch MSNBC. No one I know watches MSNBC. So, and we all, in the Twitterverse, we already like Cori Bush, so we're not, like, getting introduced to her. So it's like, I'm not going to watch Joy Reid's show. I'm not going to do any of that. I don't care. But, I don't know. It's a good trajectory, and I think that that's okay. But, at the same time, no one else knows that or cares, and it's mostly irrelevant to a lot of things.
Yeah, I think that for me, as far as the Joy Reid thing goes, I would not really care so much if he is a fan of her or not. I think that the thing that really bugs me is, he uses her as this like litmus test, as I said. And like, if you don't like Joy Reid, then then you obviously are not about the progressive movement. And, he will say things about Chomsky, and there are criticisms to be had of Chomsky, of course. But he'll bring up something from whatever Chomsky said 40, 50 years ago. And then Joy Reid only a few years ago, not only about the Bernie Sanders thing, but she also made some rather damning homophobic comments that she's never apologized for, by the way.
The Russian time travelers.
Yeah, and but Brian doesn't seem to be bothered by that at all. He's very willing to skate by that. And oftentimes, actually, in reference to Joy Reid, he insists that he can't be racist because he watches this black lady on TV. So. Which I feel like is also just another thing that racists say, oh, I can't be racist.
Yeah, that's definitely that's not the best comment for sure.
So that's a couple issues. I know that there are a couple other tweets. I don't know if you wanted to read those as well.
Just real quick, so it's in the record, because I'm too lazy to put them on stream, to be honest.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So peruse my TL. TL is short for timeline, I think. Which is in reference to their Twitter page, which is, I don't know, it's it's not great language. Who came up with this timeline? Isn't the timeline the aggregate of all you follow? Shouldn't that be the timeline? I mean, mine's just my blog. It's a blog, But anyway, that's a whole... Peruse my TL, this is Brian speaking, for an incredible panoply of journalists on the ground, all caps. In Ukraine, their takes are often even better than your hero Vaush, Mr. Latino Vaush. So would you say that Vaush is your hero?
I don't think I have ever really spoken about Vaush. I think maybe a total of 3 tweets in my tenure on Twitter have been about Vaush. I don't know why. I think where he got the hero thing is because I made that joke that one time about high progressive following me.
And he's extrapolating.
I think that's where he got that from. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, no, I watched this instead. You should too. Pinky swear. He's 100 times more better informed than me on this topic, and even 10 times better than you, Latino Vaush. You're much, much hotter than either of us, though, TBH. Okay, so there's the hot. Okay. I mean, personally, I don't mind when people call me attractive, but if you don't like that and you make that known, then that people should respect that. But
the calling me attractive or whatever, if that happens one time or whatever, that's fine. I think that what Brian did, though, he did it fairly repeatedly.
Okay.
And I think that for me, it's all right, it sort of made me feel all right, you're just trying to what, you think I'm stupid or something because you think I'm pretty,
Okay, all right,
something like that. And that I was not about that.
Okay.
And then on top of the whole the constantly referencing the Latino Vaush thing was just beyond annoying. And
I got it. Yeah,
racist.
Yeah, when someone says, "Hey, I don't like that," the other person should say, "All right, I get it." And maybe Brian doesn't think about things in those terms as much as he should, right? Maybe he should be more aware of how things he says could be perceived, and I think that that's a fair criticism for sure.
Yeah. So, and then the last tweet that I have up here is I was arguing with him, and at one point, this other account, Sick With It, who honestly I thought was Brian's alt. His backup account for the longest time. Apparently, it's not his backup account. But man, it definitely had me fooled. Here I'll link this to you as well.
Sure thing.
This one is an actual screenshot. There we go.
Alrighty. And I will post the link to this in the live chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this one is where he's actually we're arguing about, because if I remember correctly, this is the whole way that this interaction started was that we were arguing about Sirota and Grimm and all of them, and I was basically saying, like, I don't really, like, care about Sirota. Like, that's not, I don't think about Sirota. This is not a concern of mine.
Sure, I'm mostly in the same boat. Like, I enjoyed the Don't Look Up film, but other than that, I don't really follow him, so.
Yeah, it's just not something I'm going to spend my days thinking about, you know?
Mhm.
And we're going back and forth, and this account, Sick-Witted 83, he is Steve Morales, he gets involved and he says he can't call Joe Rogan trash, which I don't know where Joe Rogan came from. We didn't even talk about Joe Rogan. And I actually, whenever Joe Rogan does do something, which is usually fairly often, that's stupid, I call him out on that. So he goes, he can't call Rogan trash or talk about Sirota's shady partnering or past racism because his white click leftists will lower his circle rank. And the way that I interpreted this, and the way that many other people interpreted this as well, people actually swarmed Brian's response here.
But
was
who
that
said that was Steve Morales, though? This is a
so
different
that was
person?
Steve. Yeah, that was Steve Morales. However, Brian, instead of being, hey man, like, you know, you shouldn't. This is a person. I'm a mestizo man. I'm half indigenous. I'm Hispanic, right? And what this person is implying is that I cannot think for myself, and that I need to turn to white people in order to form my opinions, to, you know, get approval for the things that I believe. And Mr. Progressive, yeah, go ahead.
My dog's having a nightmare. Hold up, Maxie.
It's all right. It's all right.
All right, keep going.
But Brian, you know, Mr. Progressive, the king of progressivism over here, you know, Mr. Liberal, instead of challenging that, he actually reaffirms that statement, and he says that I must get clearance before articulating my groupthink, and essentially doubling down on that sentiment. And this is, to me, the greatest example of Brian's racism. This is, to me, at this point, this is not low key anymore. Now we're talking about overtly saying that me, an indigenous, a half indigenous person, a Latino person, cannot think for myself without turning to my white colleagues for approval, to make sure that it is okay with them. And this is where I absolutely just fucking lost it. I said, you know what, dude?
This
like,
is a
you're
really
a piece
bad
of shit.
tweet. Like, this is really, really bad. Like, okay, so to play devil's advocate, he thinks that, like, because you're in a group chat, that you all, like, get together to discuss what the official takes on whatever subject are, and that, like, you know, I don't know, this is a developing subject, and I don't know, like, it's, you know, it's a bad tweet. But, like, so this is in reference to Sirota and Grimm and their work with Rising or whatever, which are, you know, again, I agree with Brian's take on that, is that Rising and Breaking Point suck, but also I just don't care enough about them, you know, either. So it's like, you know, it's like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But yeah, that's not a good tweet. So you lost it, rightfully, in this instance.
Yeah, so at this point, I'm like, you know what, dude? Like, you're actually just a piece of shit. Like, you are actually just a terrible fucking person. Fuck you. I don't like you. And then the stuff following came between, that was our arguments with the Ukraine-Russia thing, and then him trying to paint me as a Putin apologist. At which point, that is when I said, okay, dude, like, you don't even know what my positions are. If you have such an issue with me and the things that I say, come on my stream. We could talk about it. You can challenge me, and then I'm going to press you on the things that I think I need to press you on. And for the longest time, Brian said, "Oh, I can't come on. I have a project that I'm working on." Oh, he actually even he said, "Do you have any videos I can look at to make sure, you know, what I'm going to be getting myself into?" Like a coward running away from the confrontation.
I just want to say I will host this debate if it happens. I'd love to host it if you feel that you need a moderator. If you don't, that's fine. I'll watch it. But yeah, like, okay, so I also agree that his tweet about you with the Putin stuff is a little, that's a big stretch, you know? So, like, just real quick, like, what is your opinion on Putin, just to get you on record?
So for the record, I am completely completely anti the Russian invasion in Ukraine. It is absolutely heartbreaking to see what the Ukrainians are going through right now. I support them 100% in their fight for independence, self-determination, and national autonomy. I think that anyone who is even nominally on the left should find this take to be uncontroversial. And I even believe that I know that Brian is very pro-Ukraine, and I commend him for that. I think that despite whatever shortcomings he may have, this is the one take where he got lucky on and landed on the right spot.
Yeah, to me, if I can represent his position on Ukraine, he is also very pro-Ukraine, and so this is kind of like in his, and if I understand a lot of what's happened since the Ukraine invasion, which I believe was February 23rd or 4th, is that correct?
I believe so, yeah. I believe so.
Is that I believe Brian views that Putin is like the kind of like a next Hitler scenario where he is either, and again, Hitler, there was a 20, 30-year warm-up to World War II, right? Like where he was placing himself in these positions and building alliances and power. So I also tend to agree that Putin is trying to put himself in that kind of position. So like I think what he that's kind of his like genesis. His core point is that Putin is like the axis of evil in the modern time. Which I agree with most of that kind of take on. I think he's definitely really bad, has the potential to be a, horrible villain throughout history like Hitler or someone, for sure. But like also, he tries to like attach that Putin axis to like every other realm of politics, especially because, we're seeing, like Trump was initially supportive of Putin, and then like he got pushed back, and then he was like, now he's kind of playing both sides. He's fence sitting on the Putin. Is Putin bad or good? Who knows? Yeah. And so like the right in this country, the Republicans, and like they have a lot of media control. Like Rising, for example, like big Trump guys funded Rising as a way to like push left wingers to the right. And I think as we saw with Force the Vote and that whole debacle, I think that it's a fair criticism to say that, shows like Rising have pushed a lot of people, like Jimmy Dore have pushed a lot of people from the left, to the right. I think that that's just true. And so I think he attaches that access to like everything. And sometimes, in my opinion, that's a misfire. And so I think that he's trying to attach you to Putin. I think you agree on that Putin is bad. On
the onset of this conflict, and this is Brian was putting me through this purity test where he was like, well, what do you believe? Like, what you've been actually, he literally said that I was silent on this issue, and I was like, oh well, I'm sorry that you didn't see my tweets about it, but I even put out this hour-long video where I am reviewing the because I came into this not really knowing too much about Russia, Ukraine, what was going on there, why that the issue was. So I had this whole 1 hour video that I put out where I actually review some of the treaties that were signed between Russia and the European nations in 1991, 1994, once the Soviet Union broke up, and how all of that, like, it basically proves that Russia and Putin are in the wrong. If we go back from a historical perspective up to this point, we see that actually Russia has broken all these treaties, and they are the aggressors, very plain and simple, in this scenario. And I posted that, and I said, well, I put up this 1 hour video, and what Brian did was he literally, so at the onset of the video, I have like a coming up, like a,
you do the,
like
yeah, that's
preview.
The thing I've seen. Let me just comment on that, because this is something I do like the minimal editing. I'm a minimalist. I'll just like start the clip, end the clip. I'll do no editing in between. I try to streamline it because I do everything myself. But I noticed that this is a thing that people do the trailer at the start of the video. Like it's like a teaser trailer. Like, why not make that a separate video and say like premiering live at 8 p.m. and then you can monetize it twice. First of all, I'm just giving you some but like, I don't know, the trailer at the start of the video, I always found that really funny. So I just wanted to comment on that just for fun. So go on. Keep going.
Well, yeah. So so I posted the video because Brian was very concerned about my position on it, and I linked it, and that's he only got through the first 30 seconds, which was the
trailer.
Yeah, just the trailer, and he even admits it. Now, see, because when I said that in the video, I say, I hate to say it, but Putin's taken the L on this. And I say that at the end of my video. So I thought, he saw the video and he got to the end and clipped that one part at the end. What I forgot was that I had actually included that in the preview part. And Brian says it was in the first 30 seconds. And I'm like, bro, you didn't even see. You didn't even watch the whole video.
Right.
You're basing your entire opinion. And that's when I challenged him on the debate. And I was like, you know what, man? If you really believe that I'm pro-Putin, if you really believe that I am, this Putin apologist, come on my stream. We can talk about it. You're going to look dumb, but come on my stream. We can talk about it and you can press me on this and I will give you my position, what I believe outwardly, just straightforwardly.
I just want to say, I think a lot of this, and this is not even just with the Brian drama, but just all internet drama, is that it's so everyone is just playing a game of telephone with what the other person is saying. And I think Twitter is really bad for this because it's got the character limitation, right? And then the way Twitter works is people love the dopamine rush, right? So what they do is they try to they're constrained by the short characters, right? And then you're trying to get that dunk in so that you get the likes and the ratio and all this stuff. And so it leads to a lot of people just trying to they misinterpret people in the extreme. They hyperbolize everything in the opposite direction. It becomes a miscommunication. It seems to me that y'all both agree on the Ukraine-Russia situation, right? But just because every tweet back and forth is there has to whatever possible disagreement may exist is amplified. It's you turn the speaker on maximum, and if you were to do a show together, you'd probably just end up agreeing on Russia and Ukraine, and that's good. If you're in agreement, that's a good thing.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to get across, and be you're barking up this tree for no reason. You're starting this fight with me. You're arguing with me, and for what? Because I won't tell you that I have this burning hatred for Sirota. Is that really the crux of your issue with me? And Brian repeatedly, many times, was like, I'm working on a project. I can't talk to you. I'm working on this thing. I don't have time. And I was like, dude, you've spent 3 hours on Twitter arguing with me about this. Just come on stream. We can squash this beef in 20 minutes. Let's just do it. Let's get this over with.
I'm a huge proponent of trying to get people on a show just because I think when you're talking to someone, it's so much more difficult to just get angry at them irrationally, And so right. And I think people really should off stream, on stream, whichever is more comfortable. It doesn't matter to me. I have a podcast, so I just invite people on my podcast, but if they really don't want to, then I'm fine with that. But I think that you should just do a show, and I'm willing to facilitate that, and as long as both parties agree.
I mean, if you would be willing to do that, I will take you up on that offer. I accept right now. I don't even have to wait for Brian to give his response. I'll tell you right now, I would be more than happy to hash this out with you mediating.
All right. You heard it here first, folks. We're going to do this for the coming up trailer. This had the trailer at the start. Here we go.
Yeah, because, for me, the thing that really annoyed me was that, after all this took place, Brian would still hound my mentions. He would still be blowing up my Twitter, putting me through all these purity tests and everything, but he would refuse to talk to me. He would refuse to talk to me, and he would say, you have no interest in being good faith. Okay. You have no and I'm like, man, I'm the one telling you to come onto my stream so we could talk this out. and you are not only refusing, but you're like fucking Neo in the Matrix right now, dodging bullets. Like, you know, and it's
okay.
It just got absurd. So it got to the point where I told him, I'm like, listen, Brian, don't fucking tweet at me anymore unless it's to tell me that you want to come on stream. I have nothing that I need to say to Brian in private. Anything that happens, it will be in front of people so I can call him out on his bullshit right then and there. And the thing that I really wanted to harp on him was that, you know, you are painting me as this like reactionary loser, right? When in reality, you don't know anything about the things that I advocate for. You know nothing of my activism. You have been several times at this point racist toward me. You know, you have harassed me for months. And now when I am, you know, nutting up and confronting you about it, you're scurrying away like a lost little chipmunk. Like, and that was something that, you know, that really, really annoyed me. I did not appreciate that. And I felt like it is very, very clear in this situation who is the one that is approaching in good faith, perhaps a little bit aggressively, which is, I can definitely take ownership of that. But who is operating in good faith and who here is the one operating in bad faith?
Yeah, like I want everyone, my ideal scenario is everyone hashes out whatever it is that these beefs are, whatever beeves, is it beeves with a V? Does it qualify for that? I don't know. And be friends, or not even be friends, but just not hate each other, right? Like, you don't have to be friends with someone. Like, you know, you can just like not talk about them or to them or just not interact. But like, you know, like that's my, whatever is going on, you know, that involves the drama, just bring it down to like the lowest point that it can from here. So that's my ideal scenario. Is that possible? Is that achievable? We'll find out. We'll find out next week. But yeah, we'll find out. I would love to host a debate. I would say, just for posterity, that if I did host a debate, I would try to be as fair as possible. You know, again, I like Brian's video project. I agree with his take on Dave Sirota, though I'm not nearly as passionate about that take as he is. You know, but I think that everyone has a thing that we can learn from each other. And, you know, overall, I think we need to just approach people in good faith. And if it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well. And, you know, you learn from that experience. You know, if you get on here and then you have an uncomfortable time, or, you know, it's just part of the experience. You know, you learn. I've had a lot of debates with a lot of weirdos, and I always learn, like, what happens after the debate. You know, usually after the debate, people lose when they go against me because I'm an intellectual titan. I've demolished people. Nico House, Jackson Hinkle, destroyed. Goodbye. But they get very mad, and you know, usually it's weeks and weeks of sending their people to like tell me I'm a loser. But that's part of the fun. I enjoy every aspect to it. And
see,
sometimes
I can't
lose,
get anyone to talk
you know.
to me. No one wants to debate me. No one wants to debate me. Every time I ask someone to come on stream, every time I ask someone, you know, like if they're open to have a conversation, they either ignore that completely or they tell me that they want to be paid.
Right. Yeah. I would say I offer people coming on the show whenever like I have a disagreement on Twitter or in the YouTube comment section. I would say maybe about 5% of the time they actually take me up on it. Yeah. So, but that's why you get, like the way I found to get into debates with people is to have other random people suggest it. Right, because if I challenge someone to a debate, they'll just ignore me. But if other people are telling them, you should debate this stupid bitch, then they're more likely to do it. That's my tactic, is to like kind of goat them into it.
I'm going to have to get the G Hive now. So
the G Hive could be a powerful ally.
For me.
Yeah, I'm very curious to get Jeffrey on the show. Is his name Jeffrey? Jeff? I don't know. I always assume Jeffrey.
I know him as Jeff. Jeff is a great guy. Jeff,
yeah, I'm just curious.
He's a real activist. You know, he's very serious about the work that he does in his community.
But back to like the Jeffrey thing. Like, you know how Bill is short for William, but then people are named Bill? Like, that's like a nickname, but then people started naming their kids the nickname. So like, is Jeff short for Jeffrey? And if that's true, is his name Jeff or Jeffrey? I'll ask him when he comes on the show. But yes, I think a lot of this drama having been here for, having known some of these characters for a couple years now, I think a lot of this drama stems from group chats. And I will tell you, I've been in a lot of group chats. 99% of the time, group chats go through like everyone loves each other. It's like, oh, I have new friends. Everyone's having fun. And then someone in the group chat pisses someone else off, and it turns into a fucking like Real Housewives scenario, flipping tables, someone blocks someone, everyone leaves, and it's just every single fucking group chat I've ever been in on Twitter. Like, it turns into that, and it's, and I mean, like, people just need to fucking learn how to grow up and have conversations. That's my opinion, but...
Yeah, no, I've had some experiences like that already, and it can be very stressful, especially when you're friendly with everybody,
Yeah, that's where I'm at, right? Like, I don't,
you're trying to keep the peace, and it sucks when like the inter-group chat beef is going on, and you're just like, yo, can we all just fucking chill? Like,
yeah, my opinion, group chat, not a good system. Like, I'm just gonna say it was an experiment. We ran the experiment. We have to eventually decide about the results. I think the results are in group chats. No good. No. Like, I mean, if it's one thing, if it's like, a group chat to talk about like anime or something. But if we're talking about political stuff, people just, they attach like the morality to everything. So
I was in a group chat when I first got on Twitter, and this was before I was really trying to step into the YouTube space and all that. And we were talking about animes, and I was like, I fucking love Dragon Ball Z. That's my favorite I don't care if you call me basic. I am
like, also a big D-Ball fan, but I prefer the original pre-Zed D-Ball.
Okay, all right. No, I could appreciate that. But the way that this group chat imploded between the DBZ fans and the Naruto fans was absurd.
No.
I was like, all right, I'm fucking done. I'm done. I can't be a part of these conversations anymore. Like, it's not worth it. And by the way, Goku would fuck up Naruto.
Like, okay, I will say, as a fan of both Naruto and D-Ball.
Yeah, no, I love Naruto as well.
I mean, I don't know. I think Naruto being able to clone himself, that's a powerful tool. I think that's a powerful tool. I think
if Goku, though, was able to, just give him a second to, gather some spirit energy, spirit bomb.
That's true.
I don't know. I don't know how many Rasengans that takes.
I don't know. Yeah, it would be definitely, it would be a battle. But yeah, people get really pissed off very easily. And I think people need to just stop going in group chats. Like, that's my opinion. Like, group chats, they will always fail. You will never be able to pull it off. I'm telling you now. If you think, I'm going to start a group chat, it's not going to work. Like, I mean, Discord server might be but it's still got the same problem. I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't know. But anyway, I want all this drama to go away. I want everyone to be friends or at least be neutral. Like, you don't, if you don't like each other, you don't like each other. And it happens. Not everyone's got to be your friend. And that's somehow... but we gotta cool off a little bit, I think, because I do think, there's other groups that Brian has gotten canceled since he came on my show by another group of people.
Yes, I am privy to the drama there now with the Gophers. Right?
The Gopher Hive is another group of people that split off from this G Hive group chat. It's like it's like an organism, like just like growing and growing, and then more people get attached to that organism that weren't even part of the original group chat, and like they become these warring factions, and it's like, first of all these motherfuckers agree on 99.9999999% of things. Second of all, right, like all of the petty drama and the this and that and all these fucking nonsense, like yelling at each other on Twitter, like it's over nothing. None of it matters. Like, no one cares. Like, what, are you going to write a book on this? Like, if you're going to write a book on it, like, it might actually be entertaining, right? But, like, there's, like, I find that almost everything on Twitter just boils down to, like, someone doesn't like another person's personality trait. And they ascribe morality to everything and hyperbolize everything else. Like, it's okay to not find someone funny. It's okay to think someone's an idiot. It's okay to think like, that's fine. You don't have to like dedicate like hours of your life to like it's so stupid. But yeah, I mean, I think the Gophers, I think those are like the Trump supporters of this like kind of thing. They're just too far gone. It's like the QAnons. You can't really like. I've given it a shot. I've tried. I've given it a really powerful shot. I've tried to talk to some of them on several occasions. They're the too far gones. They're not. But I don't think Brian is necessarily a too far gone. I think that my ideal scenario is that y'all stop hating him, he stops hating y'all, and then y'all don't be friends. Like just move on.
That would have happened. It would have happened where we would have just forgotten about each other. And for me personally, just so that way you know about how I handled this.
Sure.
It got to the point where I just blocked him. I was like, you know what? It's not worth interacting with him. It's not worth like the all this petty bullshit. I'm just gonna block him. And I had him blocked for several weeks. Up until I saw him on your stream, and then he called me out, and I was like, okay, now I have to unblock him.
All right, well, it happens. So in a way, I actually did the opposite of my intention. But okay. Okay, so the chat's asking. Weird. Yeah, real quick.
Go ahead.
The chat's asking who the Gophers are. The Gophers are another group of people. They all have like Gopher profile pictures. I think actually, I'm not sure, but I may have actually started the Gopher thing because like I think one of them had a gopher, and I referred to them as a gopher, as the Gopher Hive, because they had started this G Hive thing. Like, I don't know I really don't understand. Like, the G Hive started as like a force the vote like thing. They started the G Hive, and then former members of the G Hive jumped in on that. Like. And so I don't know.
I have no idea how even G Hive started. All I remember
it's so stupid.
I know is one day I'm on Twitter. I'm arguing with it's one of the Jimmy Dore fans, and he's like, "Oh, you're a G Hive," and I'm like, "What the fuck is G Hive?" and then shortly after that, Jeff and I became mutuals on Twitter, and then I was like, "Oh fuck, I guess I really am G Hive." Now, the disappointing thing about that is that I have yet to receive a paycheck.
That's what I've been saying. I think G Hive terminated my contract because I used to be part of G Hive, and I don't think I am anymore. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened. I'm in like 20,000 group chats, and I just have them all muted. Like once in a while, when I'm bored, I'll look through, and sometimes I'll talk in them. But like I'm in so many group chats, and then. Sometimes like I look for a group chat and it's gone. So either someone blocked me in it, I got kicked out and I didn't know. Like, and who knows when that happened? It could have been weeks ago, or it just imploded and I missed the whole thing.
Right.
There's always so many options. But yeah, so I'd like to get Jeff on the show because I really think Jeff is a key figure in all of this drama. And I've followed the Twitter drama of all the Force the Vote since it started. Like December 2020 when all of this started, and like the G Hive, just for those of you that don't know, the Force the Vote people started to call other people G Hive because Jeff, who's like some guy on Twitter who like worked on the Andrew Gillum campaign, who was the guy running against Ron DeSantis. He worked on that campaign. Yeah. So like the Jimmy Dore people called him like a Democratic operative. And then everyone who said that's a stupid thing to say is then part of the G Hive because you're defending the CIA and Jeffrey's the CIA. But then pretty much it was people who disagreed with Force the Vote were all G Hive. And then people who disagree with Force the Vote also disagree with Jeff on some things. And then they kind of became like the Gopher Hive because it's like that's like the cartoonish version. That's like the Bizarro world, right? Like you've got like
Bizarro world of G.
Correctly think that Force the Vote is dumb. That's a win, correct, right? But then also for whatever reason attach some so stupid. But yeah, like those are like the factions, and this has been developing. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah, I think I'm actually blocked by a lot of the key Force the Vote players. Like I'm blocked by Jimmy Dore, I'm blocked by Breonna Joy Gray, I'm blocked by Socialist MMA. That one was a good one. That was a good day for me. I'm blocked by Ryan Knight. I think I'm blocked by all these guys.
I'm blocked by a lot of these guys. I was gonna do a show with Socialist MMA at one point. This is before the Force the Vote thing, and it fell through. Wow. And I always wonder like what would have happened, because this is before the Force the Vote stuff, so it would have been very fun to set that up, but unfortunately it never happened. Very fascinating characters. The Force the Vote thing, fascinating. I mean, that is, you could definitely
They're still talking about it.
I still get comments because I made a lot of videos in that whole era, and I guess we're still in that era too, because this stuff.
Yeah.
But wow, I mean, like the real dumbest of the dumb. Like we're talking like oh my god, the real stupid motherfuckers. But anyway, thank you for coming on the show. Is there anything else you want to say about this beef or anything else? Like,
you know what? I'll add a little bit more fuel to the fire.
Okay, let's
before I go
empty out the tank.
I think ultimately Brian is just afraid of me. I think that he's a little bit jealous. I think he's a little bit jealous. I think he knows that I'm going to press him on a lot of stuff. My Twitter account is younger than his, and it has already overshadowed his as far as a follower count. My YouTube channel has more subscribers. I'm just the better commentator. That's really
Whoa!
I'm just the better commentator.
Whoa!
And I think he knows he can't compete, and that's why he won't talk to me. That's what I believe. So if he does decide to take me up on this offer to have a conversation, I'll be very nice. I'll be very nice. I'll make sure that I have my Sunday clothes on, my Sunday church clothes on.
Would you say maybe you'll be like a reverse Ash Ketchum, like you'll turn the hat on properly?
I won't even wear a hat. I won't even wear a hat that day. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll show my my luscious curly locks.
Okay.
Just for Brian.
All right. Well, then that would definitely separate you from Enrique Tarrio. That would be then we'd finally get the real scoop on that one. But yeah. All right. I'm definitely happy to host a debate, and I can definitely keep a debate on track because I want to be as neutral as possible. Awesome. So that's my vested stake. I will guarantee neutrality, and we'll see how far that takes me.
Awesome.
But anyway,
thank you for having me on, Andrea. It was a pleasure.
Sure. You have a great day, and that's
you
it.
As well.
That's it.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Adios.
Is this thing on? Testing. Is this thing on? Yeah, I'm so high right now. Holy shit. Okay. Yo. So that was fun. Once again, thank you all for watching. Hopefully it was not too bizarre. But yep, the Twitter drama. It's happening. It's become a saga on my show. Don't take it too seriously. We're branching out. This is like the TMZ portion. We're doing like a little mini saga. It's a little spin-off saga. Yeah. What's up? Goddamn new vape mod. But yeah. Once again, I know most of my audience doesn't know any of these characters, right? So, y'all can give us the fresh perspective. But, I think most people just disagree on such petty, like, who cares, like, what you think about some random, like, we should be able to all have adult conversations, you know what I mean? Like, who cares? Like, yes, these people do bad things, but who cares if you don't hate them as much as someone else? It doesn't matter that much. I think we should focus on the criticisms. But Yeah, I mean, and if Brian doesn't want to do a debate, but if Brian wants to come back on the show for like just a one-on-one, I'm willing to do that too. I mean, I'm down to bounce back and forth. I don't mind, it could be fun. And Jeff said he's going to come on the show sometime next week, Jeffrey of the G-Hive fame. So that's going to be fun. And anyone else? A couple other people have reached out to me, but we haven't set any days up yet. But yeah, I just generally think social media is stupid, so I try to just not get emotionally invested in any of this. But I'm willing to try to lend my hand on supporting. The nightmare blunt rotation. Oh, could you imagine? Twitter conflict resolution with the bitch. I'd like that. Like, again, my opinion is all of these people agree on 99.999%. And they don't even really disagree on anything other than like the severity of which you should go after certain things for certain people for certain things. Like, that's really the main disagreement. Like, is like, do you hate this person enough to talk about it more than you currently are? Which, I mean, we can have that conversation, but like, it doesn't need to be so charged, It's like when you're full of static, when you're like rubbing blankets together or something, and you get full of static, and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. All right. So that's pretty much all I have for the show today. I appreciate everyone for tuning in and tuning on. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Wednesday, Cooking with the Bitch. Cooking with the Bitch Wednesday. Doom Stream Wednesday. I've made more progress on the Lucid Dream course, class, and or program. And the more I'm getting into it in the pre-production sense, the more I might delay it a little bit just for more note-taking period. Longer note-taking period. So, but it's happening. So just might be a little bit longer for quality concerns. But anyway, I have a lot to say, and I'm going to not say it because the show is over. Goodbye, everyone. I will see you tomorrow.
But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
I gotta go. Let me respond. There's a lot to respond to here. Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far. Okay? Number one. Number two, I mean what I say when I say it. I mean what I say when I say it.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
I eat extra sharp.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree.